The Bloomberg terminal on my desk flashed red as another company in my father's portfolio lost 20% of its value. From my office in downtown San Francisco, not the gleaming corporate towers where Harrison Wells conducted his business, but a converted warehouse in SoMa, I watched his empire begin to crumble. "Sarah," I called to my chief of staff, "is everything ready for tomorrow's meeting?" She appeared in my doorway, tablet in hand. "Yes, Ms. Wells." Though they still think they're meeting with Cam Zhang of Horizon Ventures, not Catherine Wells. I smiled, remembering my father's words 6 months ago. "This little AI startup of yours is cute, Catherine, but it's time to grow up and join the real business world." The little startup had just developed an algorithm that could predict market crashes with 98.7% accuracy. We'd seen this downturn coming 3 months ago, carefully positioned our assets, and now held the key to saving half of Silicon Valley's biggest names, including Wells Ventures, my father's pride and joy. "Harrison Wells is confirmed for 9 a.m., Sarah continued, along with the other managing partners. "Perfect." I turned back to the Bloomberg screen, watching another red arrow point downward. "How many companies have requested meetings?" 15 major firms since this morning. Your father's company makes 16. She paused. "He still doesn't know you're behind Horizon?" "Nobody does." I pulled up our latest algorithm results. That's the beauty of being underestimated. Nobody bothers to look closely at the quiet daughter's cute tech project. The quiet daughter. That's what they'd always called me at family gatherings. While my brother Michael charmed investors and my sister Elizabeth closed billion-dollar deals, I'd focused on building something they couldn't understand. An AI system that could analyze market patterns human traders missed. My phone buzzed Elizabeth. "Have you seen the market?" she demanded without greeting. "Dad's portfolio is tanking." I noticed. I kept my voice neutral, though my heart raced. Years of preparation were finally paying off. "This is serious, Kate. The board is talking about forced retirement. They're meeting with some mysterious Asian investment firm tomorrow. Horizon something." Michael's freaking out. I thought of Michael's laughter at last year's Christmas party. Kate's playing with computers while we're running an empire. "Isn't it adorable?" "How terrible," I murmured, watching my own portfolio, carefully hidden under shell companies and offshore accounts, tick steadily upward. "I'm sure Dad will figure something out. He always does." "This is different," Elizabeth insisted. "The whole sector's collapsing. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody except a cute AI startup that had spent years learning to predict exactly this kind of crash." After hanging up, I walked to my private conference room. The space was intentionally designed to intimidate, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay, abstract art worth millions, and at the center, a table made from a single piece of reclaimed redwood. Tomorrow, my family would sit here, not knowing they were seeking salvation from the daughter they'd dismissed. "The Cam Zhang persona is fully prepared," Sarah reported. "Business records, press mentions, carefully crafted social media presence. Nobody will connect it to Catherine Wells." I nodded, remembering all the times I'd been left off important meeting invites, excluded from strategy sessions, relegated to the kids' table long after I'd earned my MBA. "They never bothered to check what I was building, did they?" "Their loss," Sarah smiled. "Quite literally at this point." The next morning, I arrived early, watching dawn break over the bay. I wore a Saint Laurent suit in charcoal gray, different from my usual casual tech CEO style, but perfect for Cam Zhang's carefully crafted image. "They're here," Sarah announced at precisely 8:55 a.m. In the lobby, I watched on the security feed as my family entered the building. Harrison Wells, still imposing at 65, his silver hair and custom suit unable to hide the strain of recent weeks. Michael and Elizabeth flanking him like protective escorts, both checking their phones constantly for market updates. "Send them up," I instructed. "But wait for my signal before bringing them to the conference room." I stood at the windows back to the door as Sarah led them into my office. The morning sun cast my shadow long across the floor, a bit theatrical, perhaps, but I'd earned this moment. "Mr. Wells," I said without turning. "Welcome to Horizon Ventures." "Ms. Zhang," my father's voice carried years of boardroom authority. "We appreciate you taking this meeting on short notice." I turned slowly, enjoying the fraction of a second before recognition hit. "Actually, it's still Ms. Wells." "Hello, Dad." The silence was absolute. Michael's phone slipped from his fingers, clattering on the wooden floor. Elizabeth's perfect composure cracked like thin ice. "Catherine," my father's voice barely carried. What is this? This, I gestured to the office, the building, the empire they'd never bothered to notice, is what happens when you underestimate the quiet daughter with the cute tech project. You're Cam Zhang? Michael found his voice first. The mysterious investor everyone's been trying to meet? Among other things. I moved to my desk, pressing a button that filled the walls with digital displays. Market data, company valuations, prediction models, all powered by my AI system. Shall we discuss Wells Ventures' current situation? I believe your portfolio lost another 12% yesterday. This is impossible, Elizabeth whispered. You run a small AI startup. You work in a converted warehouse. I own this building, I corrected, along with half of this block. And my AI startup? It's worth more than Wells Ventures' entire portfolio. Even before the crash we predicted 3 months ago. My father sank into a chair, his authority evaporating. The crash, you knew? We knew. I pulled up our prediction models. Our algorithm saw it coming. The same algorithm you called a hobby last Christmas. Would you like to see exactly how much money we made by being prepared? The numbers appeared on screen. Billions in profit from perfectly timed shorts and strategic investments. My family stared at the displays, watching their understanding of power shift in real time. Now then, I settled into my chair, enjoying the reversal of our usual dynamic. Let's talk about Wells Ventures' future. I believe you're looking for a bailout. The conference room felt smaller with my family in it. Michael kept glancing at the market data scrolling across the walls, his usual confidence replaced by something close to fear. Elizabeth had pulled out her notebook, probably trying to calculate how she'd missed this, how they'd all missed this. The terms are simple, I began, sliding tablets across the redwood table. Horizon Ventures will acquire a controlling interest in Wells Ventures. We'll stabilize your portfolio, implement our AI trading systems, and restructure the company's leadership. Leadership? My father's head snapped up. You mean, you'll step down as CEO, I confirmed. Along with the current board. It's time for new vision. Michael stood abruptly. This is ridiculous. You can't just walk in and take over our company. Your company? I smiled, pulling up more data. Let's review Wells Ventures' performance over the past 5 years. Failed acquisitions, missed opportunities, and now. I gestured to the screens showing their plummeting stock price. Complete vulnerability to a market shift any decent AI could have predicted. We have other options, Elizabeth interjected, but her voice lacked conviction. Do you? I pressed a button, displaying their rejected bailout requests. Goldman passed. So did Morgan Stanley. Even your friends at BlackRock won't touch Wells Ventures right now. We're your last option. My father hadn't moved, hadn't spoken. He just stared at the empire he'd built, watching it slip through his fingers into the hands of his unrealistic daughter. The algorithm, he finally said. Show me how it works. I nodded to Sarah, who initiated our demonstration mode. The screens filled with our AI's analysis. Pattern recognition so complex it looked like abstract art, market predictions that read like prophecy. Beautiful, isn't it? I stood, approaching the largest display. The same system you called a waste of time last year just predicted a market crash that wiped out half your net worth. Would you like to see what it's predicting for next quarter? Kate, Elizabeth's voice softened. Why didn't you tell us? We could have worked together. Really? I turned to her. Like when you worked with me on the Jensen acquisition. Oh wait, you told the board I was too inexperienced to handle major deals. That was 3 years ago. That was last Christmas, I corrected. Right before you suggested I stick to smaller projects while the grown-ups handled real business. Michael cleared his throat. The AI system, it's really worth more than Wells Ventures? The AI system is worth more than Wells Ventures, Robertson Capital, and Morgan Technologies combined. I enjoyed watching that land. Would you still call it my cute little hobby? The silence stretched out, heavy with years of dismissal and missed opportunities. Finally, my father spoke again. What are your terms? I sat back down, pressing another button. New documents appeared on their tablets. Full integration of our AI technology. Complete restructuring of leadership. And public acknowledgement of where your salvation came from. You want us to admit that Catherine Wells saved Wells Ventures? Michael's voice cracked. No, I smiled. I want you to admit that you never bothered to understand what Catherine Wells was building. The press will handle the rest. The next hour was a detailed presentation of how our technology would transform their outdated trading strategies. With each slide, each demonstration, I watched their resistance crumble under the weight of undeniable innovation. Sign by end of day, I concluded, or we'll accept one of the other 15 requests for bailouts we received this morning. Your choice. Elizabeth studied the contracts, her legal training kicking in. These terms, you've been planning this for months. Years, I corrected. Ever since you all laughed at my first algorithm presentation. I built this company knowing exactly how this day would play out. The warehouse office, Michael said suddenly. This struggling startup story, it was all an act. A useful one. I gestured to our surroundings. Nobody looks too closely at the quiet daughter working out of a converted warehouse. It gave me time to perfect the technology while you were all busy underestimating me. My father stood slowly, age and humility weighing on him equally. I should have seen it, should have recognized. That I inherited more than your name? I finished. That I was building something revolutionary while you were all focused on maintaining the old ways. He nodded, defeated. What happens now? Now! I pressed one final button. Screens around the room displayed news headlines announcing Horizon Ventures' acquisition of Wells Ventures. Now you learn what it's like to work for the daughter you never took seriously. The transformation of Wells Ventures began immediately. Our AI systems integrated into their trading platforms, revolutionizing decades of outdated strategies. The market responded enthusiastically. Their stock rebounded, stronger than ever. Michael and Elizabeth found their places in the new structure, though with significantly reduced authority. They learned to work with the AI, to respect innovation over tradition. It was a steep learning curve, but necessity proved a powerful teacher. My father, that was more complicated. He stayed on as an advisor, watching his daughter transform his life's work into something he'd never imagined possible. Sometimes I caught him staring at the AI displays, trying to understand the revolution he'd dismissed as a hobby. You could have let us fail, he said one evening, months after the acquisition. Could have built your empire on our ruins. That would have been easy, I agreed, showing him our latest prediction models. But I wanted you to see exactly what you'd underestimated. Every success, every innovation, every victory you dismissed as cute or unrealistic. The press loved the story. Tech visionary saves family firm became daughter's hobby revolutionizes finance became Catherine Wells, the future of AI trading. I kept the warehouse office, though now it was just one of many Horizon properties. A reminder of where I'd built my first algorithm, where I'd learned that being underestimated could be the greatest advantage of all. Elizabeth still occasionally suggests collaboration opportunities, though now she comes to my office to pitch them. Michael has stopped calling AI cute, especially since our system tripled his division's profits. The quiet daughter label has faded, replaced by titles like innovator and visionary. But I don't measure success by their recognition. I measure it in lines of code, in market predictions, in moments when technology exceeds what everyone thought was possible. Sometimes at night, I walk through the empty trading floor, watching our AI systems process global market data in real time. The same algorithms they once mocked now protect billions in assets, predict economic shifts, shape the future of finance. My family's company was just the beginning. Horizon Ventures continues to grow, acquiring struggling firms and transforming them with our technology. Each success proves that innovation doesn't need permission or approval. It just needs conviction and the patience to prove everyone wrong. The Wells name still means something in business circles, but now it's associated with technological revolution instead of traditional finance. And the quiet daughter, who was never quite good enough for the family business? She's too busy building the future to worry about the past. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying what others built. It's building something so extraordinary that they have no choice but to acknowledge their own limitations. And sometimes the greatest success comes from being underestimated just long enough to become unstoppable. The end.